system. Now it's time for the most awaited session of the day, perhaps. I would now request to deliver the keynote address to our program chair, Dr. P. Anbalagan, IAS Chairman and Managing Director of Mahajan Co., the host partner for this program, to give his perspective, the leadership role of Mahajan Co. in the Indian power scenario, and what's the roadmap ahead. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rajneesh De from APAC, Engineer Sanjeev Kumar Katiyarji, Sri Bihu Bhujanji, Dr. Farooq Patel, my friends and power engineers, chemists, all the good friends from across the country. A warm welcome to Amchi Mumbai, Apli Mumbai, Tumchi Mumbai. There are numbers which have been shared, the earlier speakers, but still the world is around always the numbers. For a man of a science, we always believed in numbers. So even like when our Honorable Prime Minister mentioned 5-point agenda for this 2070, 2030, again there are 5 points. And with the ambitious middle class looking for a lot of employment, if you look at Niti Aayog estimates, you need roughly around like 70 to 80 lakhs of employment generation to be done every year. See the numbers, almost 8 million. You add almost Germany, you add like France, maybe UK for employment. Highly ambitious. Like we want to become a $5 trillion economy. We want to replace maybe the first stuff for first 2 slot. But it's easy, I would say maybe need to do good effort to reach at 3rd level for the 3rd largest economy of the world. And power, electricity, energy, the crucial input for any human development, be it industrialization, anything. So without power, without electricity, nothing is going to move. It's a crucial input for any industrial revolution, be it industrial 4.0, your Internet of Things, everything. Look at the survey, the CAGR projections, like roughly when the country is at around fairly 1200 kilowatt hour, like per capita consumption. Maharashtra has almost 1588. It's not a big number actually. You look at European country standards, you look at like America, their consumption demand, and look at China, their demand is like in multiple X. So where we do actually stand. And typically industry, particularly because economies are like cross-linked. Nobody is insulated, nobody is like independent. So now even the exports determine that certain component of your energy needs to be from renewable. So for a country which needs an ambitious, like we want to cut down our imports and we want to improve our exports, then there is no escape except to follow in line what like GUI mentions, what the COP mentions. Maybe it's only a time where we reach and what are the efforts and what are the inputs we should put. So by 2030, like even the state like Maharashtra, which is like roughly 10% of the economy, we say like we are close to like $500 billion economy. So anything in the country is like 10%, like be it a land mass, be it a population, be it an economy, except for the direct taxes collection and indirect taxes collection, which is much, much better, almost 16 to 17%, almost 1/6. Export, almost 20 to 25%. So some area it's like contributes like almost 1/5 of the country's output, some it's like 10 to 15%. So by Maharashtra energy demand is going to grow at roughly around 6.3%. This is as per the CEA. But the state assessment is like much more, they say, basically. It's almost roughly close to around 7.5 to 8%. Even conventional thing, it goes up to like 284 billion units. So think of it like, now we generate close to around 62 like billion units. We cater to 33 to 35% of the state demand. So if we want, if you are even the Mahajan curve is not going to improve upon its capacity addition, both like conventional and renewable, and we will be like pushed to side, will be pushed to corners. So what you will do, like with 284, almost close to like 300 BU. And if you look at like 2035, it's 369 billion units. Numbers are almost double by 2035. So roughly you need a minimum 9 to 10 to almost 11% overall generation capacity, which we normally do 4 to 5 like. So almost highly ambitious. And our commitment is there, like there are numbers I said 500 gigawatt by 2030 for renewable energy capacity addition. But that corresponds to what? So normally first time we are also talking about million units. The 50% of the energy has to come from renewable sources. It's highly ambitious. So 50 in the sense almost it's 5 times. 5 times the investment you require. And look at the emission targets. 1 billion tons we are going to reduce by 2030. And dependency will be less than, carbon dependency or intensity will be less than 48%. That is what the numbers say. And of course, net zero, neutrality, carbon neutral by 2070. For a power generation companies, particularly state utilities, which are already with a lot of legacy issues. So you cannot miss the last bus actually now. So we already missed so many buses. But this is the last bus. And this is a time, if you really want to invest in renewables, another 2 to 3 years. And you invest this, and it has to be in scales. Not like mediocre, smaller like pilots or small thing. It has to be like the economy of scale. You need to like in multiple lakhs, you should think of it. So then only like the economy which is totally fossil fuel dependent, it can be like hardly, like roughly like less fossil fuel dependent. So I won't comment whether thermal will be there or not, because till the time innovations are not happening, or maybe it should happen, particularly for the energy storages. The longer duration of like construction period for the pump storages, and typically also the transmission network to handle the zigzag demand of like morning peak, evening peak, and maybe a static thing. So these are the crucial points we should looking at. Number again, I'm not, they're all there in nets. So what we are having it. Even like company like our distribution company, the in 2030, the demand is going to be almost 45 gigawatt, which is now roughly like, it fluctuates so heavily. Like yesterday it was only distribution, our particularly MSPGCL, demand was around 17, that's it. And it's spreadsheet like 17 to 24. So 7,000 megawatt is like a spreadsheet where like you should be able to play with like PSP, energy storages, whatever thing. These are the number. So what is the investment required? So really, if you really want to be in the race, if you really want the PSUs or to be in the lake race, we need to be investing lot of money into that. So then really we'll have a energy transmission which is like mandated, which is like aimed ambitiously by the union government and by, of course, for the all the subnational economies. What is the challenge we look at? Particularly for a company like National Thermal Power Corporation, the biggest PSU, and maybe the close cousin Mahajanko or MSPGCL, and maybe the companies of Gujarat, UP, Nigam. Particularly see, with 50% of energy being from only from renewable sources, so your thermal is already like put at 50%. So what is the efficiency in which you will be operating your plants? Well, really you need to build the huge plants like 800, 1000 megawatt, or you should go really for 200 of like ultra super critical or maybe super ultra critical, so that like instead of getting into like business of flexibilization, all that, handling a huge, you put up like a 15,000 crore plant and you want to operate only 3,000 crore plant. Why do you want to do? There is a paradigm shift you should think of whether we should go for a huge or like modular plants, which are easy to operate and less investment and less gestation period. Now also we are also looking at 800 megawatt. Maybe for a base load, so far as your base load is like not eroded, then of course you can think of bigger plants. If you are overshooting base load for like to handle a contingency or maybe monsoon period, like 3 months and monsoon because of a climate change, even you can see solar literally like what, 15, 20%, 30%. So we also need to think what exactly the wind potential we should explore. I would say like even offshore is one option, but the country and state has already tremendous potential on land actually, and which is quite reasonably cost effective than like offshore. We were also with Navy, we were looking at whether we should go for a offshore. At least to begin with, costs are very prohibitive. When like I am getting a 2.4 like per unit from a solar, so why you should look at wind? But to balance the energy mix, and at least till the time PSP is mature, till the time the energy storage is mature, this wind is going to be a big boon, because during a monsoon, particularly in daytime, you have quite a good balancing thing. So we should look at a hybrid of like wind and solar when we look at, and even the potentialities also to be explored at that. And Government of India also has started a like very massive program. We have a like a national solar mission, national wind mission, energy efficiency policies like our PAT scheme for our thermal plants, of course green hydrogen mission. So here also we have a like particularly for a green hydrogen, the ecosystem is yet to mature. It's highly energy highly energy intensive. On green, you need 100% of the energy needs to be from the renewable sources. And transportation is a big thing of like green hydrogen and also the power. So power evacuation, where you want the green hydrogen to be put up, where you really need a like supply base, where you really need a like a power linkage, where you will convert into like ammonia, where you will have a maybe a coolant, district cooling system. We are not going into that. But export, and particularly for it can till the time the system matures for like hydrogen fuel cell and innovations, cost effectiveness, like to make a money and to diversion, ammonia is like easy to transport, liquefaction is that. So again, there also the investment for hydrogen is almost 90% and ammonia is another 10%. Again, a huge investment. So location is going to be a big thing, power and state policy. When green hydrogen is going to be totally energy dependent and it's going to be totally on renewables. So what is a non-renewable period on which I will be drawing conventional power or maybe whatever like PSP or anything. So what is the power I should be, what is the rate I should be charged? The state should think or to devise a policy, because it's going to need a lot of, look at like China or maybe like bigger economies, lot of government inputs are going to come. So here also government is going to play a crucial role in way of like whatever viability, whatever the policy support, whatever the framework it is required. Another thing which is going to come is like electric vehicles. Though now electric vehicles they're electric vehicles, but they are charged through regular, we don't like charge electric vehicles through renewables. We do charge them. Someone will burn carbon maybe in Koradi, Chandrapur, maybe Korba, wherever like. and I'm happily charge my electric vehicles in Mumbai or maybe Chennai or maybe Gurgaon. So do they really mean? But yes, it means, because if you look at cities, particularly 1 million cities, I don't know, I have spent around 4 years with Pollution Control Board as CEO. So we have done quite a lot of study also with Delhi IIT for a lot of cities, and I also done a small syndicate paper for my Mussoorie on a Delhi pollution. So if you look at what exactly apportionment study for a city, I would say air quality is roughly 65 to 70% is vehicular. 10 to 12% industry, predominantly they are like for Mumbai bakeries, wood operated bakeries. Another like 10% is a resuspension, like poor road quality, mud, that's it. So if the cities are going to be really need a good air, I think say maybe in another 5 years or 10 years, our vehicle, all vehicle need to be, particularly any vehicle entering the city should be a electric vehicle. Because of high rises, the natural dispersion which happens earlier. Luckily, Mumbai is blessed because we have a sea. But look at Pune, look at Gurgaon, look at Delhi, Noida, maybe Kanpur, Lucknow. It's going to be very tough. There are going to be gas chambers. So this is another potential area. So it's going to increase the power demand exponentially. So maybe someday the National Green Tribunal may come up with a suggestion that you should go all the vehicles playing, they should be electric vehicles. So that way we need a long-term policies which will like motivate, which will like incentivize the investors, because it's a long gestation. It's not like when we thought of a solar in 10 years before, my break even was like 2 years, 3 years. Now it's 12 years. Even like when we first signed a PPA with our distribution, our like sister or maybe a brother company, किती 17 रुपये होता का unit? 17. Now it is 2.6 rupees. So with 300 megawatt installed capacity, the annual my collection is 300 plus crore. Now if I put 100 megawatts, hardly 30 to 40 crore will be my collection. That's you will have another 5% goes for your all that. So hardly, I do take 10 to 12 years to make a break even. Only because if I'm getting a cost of finance at a like a reasonably good rate and private investors, then of course I should be able to debt service. I should be able to get some money. That's it. Like it's a very, very conventional like 13 to 14, like what the percentage of returns. So innovation is a key thing on all this, like be it a green hydrogen and even like flexible operation, flexibilization of your conventional thermal plants, and looking at a smaller modular plants close to like load centers, and simplifying the laborious process of the clearances, which takes like Katyasa was mentioning that even we are at DPR stage. DPR, there is like it takes so much of time. So then cost overrun, everything happens. So we should promote with PLI, of course. Solar is coming in a big way. There are a lot of like domestic homegrown companies are doing in big way. But though government is doing hand holding, but still it needs for another at least for a decade, so that like really we will make a change. So with that, I would say with some inputs on maybe some background on Mahagenco, what it does, I'll take maybe 3 to 4 minutes. It roughly has around 13,500 megawatt of installed capacity, close to around 10,000 from thermal, roughly around 2,500 from hydro, rest is and 670 is from gas, and like rest is from solar. Here we are also looking at, because we have vintage plants, 210 plants. We have in Bhusawal, we have in Nasik 4, then Kapargada 4, almost 8 plants, and even in Chandrapur 10 plants. So 2,000, 2100 megawatt we have that. So to keep that base load, of course, we should look at like the bigger plants, like 800 or 1000 megawatt plant, which we are looking at Chandrapur and maybe one at Akola, Paras. And Koradi, maybe because of originally the DPR was made for 616 to 2 and also the land and other constraint. So we are looking at doing 616 to 2, 1320 in Koradi. So these were simple to keep that base load, like roughly around 10,000 megawatt. Because even then, like looking at 2030, 45 gigawatt, it's only a 10 gigawatt. So roughly mine is like roughly 20-25%. So even I operate at 50-60% of my efficiency, then I should be able to cater to that. So really here, thermal plants are need to do lot of things to the flexibilization, really like remunerative. Otherwise, regulator should seriously think of compensating the plant. So otherwise, like you will not have any money to invest in like other area. Pump hydro storage stations, we are looking at roughly around 3,200 megawatt with Sadlaj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited as a major partner. And for solar addition, we are roughly somewhere between like 8,000 to 12,000 megawatt with our own, and which also we may require for like our typically for our PSP to charge PSP stations. So we also have an SP with NTPC. And with green hydrogen, we are looking at there are good captive customers, and we are also planning to put up an anchor unit 50K, so with an annual capacity. And we are also looking at whether we should get into this ammonia, green ammonia. That recently SECI has come up with a tender. So there are other areas. We are also looking at, we have never been into like wind, but probably now we'll also go for like hybrid solar and wind. Some of the like green initiatives, like we signed an MOU with the SJVN for 5,000 megawatt, and JV also with NTPC Green for 2,500 megawatt. And we are also harnessing the land untouched by the universities. Like we have a MOU with Mahatma Phule Krishi Vidyapit Rahuri for 100 megawatt. And we also have a MOU with MEDA for solar and wind hybrid. So that way, Mahajan Q is also looking at diversification, because we want to be in the business. Past 2 years, we are fairly doing, though you have like a normally till we are in the college, brothers and sisters always fight. It not biologically. When there are sister companies also, we fight, and we vigorously fight. Particularly when the elder brother has all the resources, the younger brother is always pushed to corners. Unfortunately, father and mother also supports younger elder brother. So still that, what you have to do? So you have to look for other options. आम्हाला पुतण्या चुडते वगैरह बघावं लागतं. म्हणजे I have to go for my cousins. Not necessarily depending on the sister and brother. I look for cousins and maternal uncle, paternal uncle of sort of. So that is what association with the SGVN, MEDA, NTPC. So we are looking beyond Maharashtra, looking beyond Vitaran distribution. So that like we'll be in the business continuity, and mutually, transparently we'll do that. And the circular economy, which we like, we are looking at, everyone should think of it. So I would say India's energy transformation is not an economic imperative or compulsion or mandate. It's also a moral one. Because what we always, Mahatma Gandhi says, always like, you're all been like given a loan. So you should leave that. So you should leave that planet, Earth, in the same way or better way to your younger generations. So I would say with a proper policy alignment and good collaboration and one of the best innovation, maybe think centuries beyond, we can really create sustainable and we can really prosper without damaging the environment. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Actually, I have a lot of praise to the organizer for organizing such a wonderful conclave, and I hope that it will have a grand success for today, achieving whatever the targets and a relevant topic on this. And I have thanks to Mahajanko being a part of this organization, and special thanks to P. Anbalagan sir, the CMD, setting the directions to us, leading brother as a state Genco. Thank you very much.
Thanks, and we really appreciate what our program chair and Dr. P. Anbalagan delivered in the keynote address. And truly speaking like a leader, while Mahajanko, we all acknowledge the leadership qualities, he was not satisfied. He was giving in the global context where Mahajanko stands and how it can improve. And he told us both tactical and strategic measures to develop, and also some facts and figures on Mahajanko and its achievements. Great to understand that, and I'm sure throughout the day there are some other presentations from Mahajanko. We will come to know in more detail about some of these.